Hello, this is Brian Funk, and thank you for listening to the Music Production Podcast. I'm very excited to announce that my new book, The 5-Minute Music Producer, is now available in paperback form, a real book that you can hold and touch and turn to any page you like in a second. And it's a pretty big book, 629 pages of activities, exercises, and wisdom I've learned over the years. It's available on Amazon.com. The 5-Minute Music Producer is 365 music-making activities that will help with your songwriting and music production. It'll help you fight writer's block, make more music, write better lyrics, develop solid workflows, learn techniques for generating ideas, and finish more music. It's like having your very own music production personal trainer giving you ideas and challenges each day. And the best part is the challenges are quick and easy, and they only take a few minutes. So even if you don't have a lot of time, you can spend 5 minutes and advance your music production skills. There's no better time to improve your music than now. Imagine where you'll be after a year of these activities. The 5-Minute Music Producer has hit the #1 new release in the music songwriting and music recording and sound categories on Amazon. So check out the 5-Minute Music Producer, 365 music-making activities. It's available on Amazon.com, or you can go to brianfunk.com/book. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Music Production Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Funk, and this is the show about all things making music. And today we've got a chance to talk about some of the ways we can make music our living and how we can find creative ways to get into the business, because we have Evan Price, the CEO of Artist Collective, here today. And he's got some cool ideas and perspectives on how he's building musicians' careers, helping them leave their jobs behind and make music their living. So it's always great to know new ways to make music in this ever-changing landscape. So Evan, thank you for being here today.
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me. This is great. I like being on a production related podcast. It's a refreshing point of view. I think a lot of producers, a lot of like music related producers need to find ways to make money and find new strategies. So glad to be here. Long story short.
Yeah, it's good to have you, man. And like you said, there's, I guess like so many challenges and opportunities really in the way things are changing in this world, what it means to be a musician and a producer. So I think it's going to be fun to get into some of these things that you do. And you do that through Artist Collective. And I just want to, maybe we'll give a little shout out to Connor Frost, who was a guest on the podcast a while back. And when we were getting in touch, I saw on your website he was there. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a good sign. When you see people, connected and endorsing things, that's always a positive thing. So shout out to Connor. And I thought maybe if you tell us a little bit about what Artist Collective is and what you're trying to do for people.
Sure. So Artist Collective is made to help find the business in music again. You got the music, you're talented, you want to do something with it, but you want it to be your long-term income. Our company is here to help give you those tools, to give you those business frameworks, to help you create these business-like habits, to help those artists transform into what we call artistpreneurs. We're thinking like an entrepreneur while also still hanging on to our art. And I also want to shout out Connor. He really emulates that artistpreneur perfectly. It's a nice balance of music and business. He's coaching artists on their journey to becoming better songwriters, and he just got off a 2-week tour that he booked himself, and he's doing this full time. So being able to be like, I'm still an artist, I'm still loving what I do, but I also would like to get paid to do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. So also shout out him. Go check out that old episode on this podcast. He's a great dude.
Yeah, it's something you hear more and more, I guess, that artists need to be so many things, right? And you might even be, as an artist, so many things. You're writing the songs, you might be recording the songs, producing the songs, releasing the songs, and then you're booking your shows, booking your tours, you're managing social media. There's so much opportunity for us all to get in touch with fans and find new people, but it's also opened up, I guess, another world where you get the great power of being able to do this, but it also comes with that responsibility of like you have to figure out the way to do it too.
Right. I think it just comes down to knowing what your skills really are and being okay with that and like doubling down on that and not doing all of these different things as an artist. Like, as you said, yeah, when you're getting started, you got to wear all these hats, but like lean into your strengths as much as possible and know that DIY doesn't mean do it by yourself. You can do it yourself, but you can surround yourself with a team. You can hire people. You can outsource certain things. You can use resources online. You can think like that entrepreneur and outsource as much as you can, but by still building something of your own. So that's the first thing that we work with clients on is they're what we call, creative business owners, artistpreneurs who have a skill, but they're not sure how to put a dollar sign on it. Like it's not like an easy, like, cool, I'm selling a box of crayons. I know what I should sell those. It's more of a woo woo type of how do I package this one skill I have of helping somebody learn how to sing or play piano or, coach them on a certain thing that I am a master at. Like for you, it'd be like, maybe you could package your skills of podcasting because you've done it for so long and you've seen failures and successes. And how do you package that and sell that as an offer? We help them really hone in on those skills first.
Yeah, right. Like crayons, it cost me X dollars to make the crayons, and I need to make a certain amount of money. So, like, you can figure out the number easy.
Mm-hmm.
But something like teaching someone how to sing or how to do a podcast or anything, I guess, in the artistic realm that's not so the costs aren't as clear, right? Like, there's a lifetime of experience that goes into these things. And
Yeah.
the product you're giving to a person could change their life forever too. So I guess like finding that value is a really tricky thing because you might think, I mean, for instance, my band just put together a record. We produced 100 vinyl albums, and to make 100, it wound up. It was about $3,000 between everything we did.
Mm-hmm.
But behind that is like, well, what about all the equipment we used? What about all the years of practice and experience and all the time we spend honing the songs? And it's like really difficult to calculate that.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these other, even like an album, like we have a framework of like what they're about how much you pay for an album. But some of this other stuff is so much different, and the products aren't necessarily even in existence yet. So how do you value that?
Yeah. I mean, I wish there was an exact number.
Right.
I mean, what you do is you look at the competitors, you look what other people are doing. That's how other people price stuff in the industry. So with coaching, that makes it even harder because it's like people sell lessons for $20 a lesson, but then you have other people for $20,000 for an hour to talk to them. It's just such a wide range. I think it's just about building up enough confidence and understanding where you are on that scale. Like if there's a scale from 1 to 10, all right,
Mm,
one being you're an absolute beginner at whatever this task is, and 10 being you are the best of the best. You're the biggest expert. There's barely anybody who knows more than you on this topic. Where are you at there? And having confidence in saying, I'm a 4 based on what you believe, of course. So all you need to do is attract enough people who are at level 1, 2, and 3 that you can help them get to that 4. And that's like the clearest framework I have for figuring that out is just like saying, great, you're great at podcasts. How great? On 1 to 10, this is rhetorical. You don't have the answer on the air. But like, where are you at on like producing? Like, do you have a clear process? Are you confident that you could get somebody to whatever it is that promise is? Like on your podcasting coaching thing, you're guaranteeing they are going to be ranked because you have this clear system. Cool. That makes you higher up on the chain,
mm,
if you will, of expertise. So then you just price that accordingly. Like I said, looking at competitors, looking at experts, using Chat GPT and things like that to grab information for you and say, cool, this is where I think I'm at. Like, and just start asking for it.
mm,
It just comes down to confidence. Um, and knowing where you're at, right? the imposter syndrome that I get a lot from clients, that's only a real thing when you are really at a level 4 and you're trying to attract people and saying you can help them get to a level 7 when you
Mm,
haven't gotten there yet. Then cool, maybe you need to say you're charging too much. You're not actually fulfilling on those promises. You're not getting those results. So you're kind of a liar now. So you don't want to do that. Um, for instance, I wouldn't say, "Hey, I can help you make $1 million this year." I have yet to do that. So I
mm,
wouldn't make those claims. So I wouldn't be
right.
able to charge what coaches that are saying I can make you 7, 8 figures can charge. That wouldn't be ethical,
Hmm,
right? So you need to a lot of clarity needs to happen. To the roundabout way of answering that question is
mm,
like finding that clarity of being like, okay, are you an expert? And what level of an expert are you? And that's one of the first steps we help clients with as well. It's like, cool, you're great at jazz guitar. How great? Like,
mm,
who could you teach confidently get a specific result that you could do with no problem? That's cool. Maybe you're at a 3. Oh no, you're really good. You studied at Berkeley. You went on tour with a bunch of people. You have a lot of accolades. You're written up in Billboard. Maybe you're an 8. Maybe we can you can charge more.
mm,
So um it's just like the biggest framework I have, I guess, for this, because you're right. It is very like loosey goosey, like, yeah, we charge whatever. But I think finding that confidence first in your own skills allows you to build that confidence in the price. Like when I'm
mhm,
talking high ticket coaching offers like this, like $1,000 or more. Cool. You can help somebody book their band shows outside of um their local like city. Cool. Charge $1,000, $1,200, help them book those shows. Make sure that you fulfill on your promise.
mhm.
Because there's somebody out there who wants that expertise that you have and they're willing to pay for it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's also value in, like what you said, like just because you might come in at a 3 or 4, that doesn't mean your perspective isn't valuable. Because
Mhm.
sometimes when the further along you get, you kind of lose track of what it took to get there. And I, in my life, like I remember being a kid with my younger sister. Sometimes I would have to be the one to like translate between my parents and my little sister because I was more on her level. I got her more. Or
Mhm.
when my grandmother first started using a computer, I'm telling her to like, okay, grandma, like, move the mouse and click on this. And she's like, click? Like, what does that mean? She didn't even have the understanding of like that the mouse controls this arrow on the screen and we're pointing at things and we're so like some of these like really fundamental things, I think, especially when you're getting into some kind of craft, music production, for instance, you forget some of the like this is an audio track. This is where your sounds go. Like we need to start there sometimes, just at the very basics. And
Mhm.
that stuff can sometimes get lost when we go for the tens, the nines, those types of people. So I guess I'm trying to say is like, you probably have something to offer if you have any kind of experience. There's something that is there like a process of determining that that you take people through, like what it is that you might discovering your own abilities because sometimes people underestimate what they're capable of.
Absolutely. I think we're at a place where our clients coming in vary a little bit. Some people like have been doing an offer for a while and they just need to like scale it. Others are like, I'm talented at these bunch of things. I don't know how to choose. So there is a process of like, cool, what's the thing that lights you up the most? Taking away your disbelief of being able to make money from it. That's the biggest thing because people are like, oh, I'm just going to do the one that's most lucrative. Let's remove that completely. Pretend money isn't a problem because I'll tell you this, most skills you can monetize. Like, unless it's this outrageous thing, like you can monetize it. There is a way. Some are easier than others, but you can make it happen. So, first, you need to really love this thing, this one
Mm,
skill, be really good at it, and be willing to do it for free anyway. And that's why musicians, it's so great because we're very good at doing this thing for free, right?
right.
So how do you monetize that? But it really just comes down to finding the thing you're aligned with the most and building your process from there. Cool. You're really good at teaching somebody how to produce or remix a song, for instance. Let's go super niche. What's your process? And then you take the song, and the next process, you choose a DAW. Like, what is the step-by-step process? Once you, like you said, figure out how you've done that, because we're sometimes experts are too close to it to really know what the process is, as you mentioned. So it's really just taking steps like, what's the 4 to 5 steps you take to get that result? And if somebody else was able to take that same process, could they get the same exact result? So figuring that out, but really coming back to, what do you care about the most? Because most creatives do a lot of things. Trust me. Like, they're a jack of all trades. They're an actor. They can play guitar. They could teach somebody piano. They can roller skate. Like, it's never
Mm.
ending of talents and skills. But start with the one that lights you up the most and build it out from there.
Mm. Yeah, there's a lot of things I got involved with that I never expected to through music, like web design. You know, designing a web, not that I'm doing anything fancy, but running a website. Like,
Mhm.
that's never something I would have been like, that's what I want to do. But by playing in bands and we need a website, we need to figure out a way to do it. So I'll try it. You know, I know a guy that made one once. I'll talk to him. And
Yeah.
your story is kind of like a nice meta version of this whole idea, really. That I
Mhm.
think about it, like you've kind of found yourself doing this for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of started 14, 15. I created my own promotion company because for my band, because nobody would book us. So I was like, just like what you said with the website, I figured
Mm,
out how to do it. And I realized I was pretty good at it. I was good at connecting with people. I was good at like negotiating for the most part. And I started to realize, oh, I like this side more. So really doubled down on that. And I love business building. I love taking ideas, bringing them to fruition, creating systems from them. So as you said, it sounds very meta. Like, I feel like I was, the first artistpreneur in this like archetype that
mm,
would become the rest of this company. So yeah, absolutely. So I tend to attract a lot of people like that too, like around me, who are like creatives that are still just kind of like, I got a day job, I'm doing this, but I really want to do this. I don't know how to make money from it. So I find that I definitely attract the people on my team that are also in that same category. People like you, people like me, um, the creative types. I really mesh with really well. So I've found that I'm just have a passion in that in itself. So I've ran with it ever since.
mm. That's cool. Yeah, it's nice. It's like not only am I the CEO, I'm also a client type of thing. You know,
Kinda.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so there's a lot of like I hear a lot of talk and news stories about how like, artists are suffering, the different challenges. We're not selling as many albums. Streaming services pay fractions of a cent for every stream. This and that. It seems like you can find enough bad news. You don't have to look too hard. But are there any
Mhm.
kind of interesting new things that you've seen open up that excite you?
I guess other than the same topic we're talking about, which is like coaching.
Hmm.
A couple years ago, I can't recall the exact article, but it estimated that the coaching business would be about an $11 billion industry by like 2026 or something, 2025 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think with all of this knowledge that we can get, I could Google literally how to do anything, which is cool, but also overwhelming.
Right.
I'm lost in a sea of information, as one of my clients would say, on the internet. So I think that's even more importance on to coaching itself, because you are paying to expedite all that overload and have somebody give you, cool, I know where you're at personally. You fit into this framework that I've built and perfected and tested. Just do this thing. Just do it step by step. People want step by step processes. And I think coaching programs allow that to happen. So I think that's cool, because us as musicians and creatives, like, if you are really good at creating content, you could just show somebody your process of creating content. Hey guys, I created content and made $400,000 in 3 weeks. This is what I did. Just do this step. Um, because I think people really want to be handheld a little bit when it comes to big ideas like that. Um, I mean, I got some buddies here in Mexico City. They did Duolingo, and I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh yeah, I've used it.
Duolingo,
Yeah.
it's great, it's cool, but if you wanted to get there faster, you would hire a one-on-one coach that would give you an exact process. For one, it costs a little bit more money than the free stuff, so you're going to take it more seriously. You're going to dial in. And two, it's actually going to give you a step-by-step process so you can kind of weed out all the other noise. So, random example, but I think that coaching realm of that one-on-one connection, even for creatives, is just really exciting to me.
Mm. I totally relate to it, and I had a random example in my head as well. My kitchen sink was clogged recently. Water just wasn't going down. I'm looking
Oh
at the
no.
pipes, and I'm like, it's like cables, basically, right? Like they connect, they go somewhere. Maybe there's a problem, like so it's a clog, right? So I start taking them apart a little bit, and I get to a point. Well, it wasn't that. It wasn't the easy example, but I'm going on YouTube. I'm going in Google. I'm like, how do you fix a clogged drain? And they're like, well, no, they don't get what's happening to me right now. They're telling me this one problem, this one solution. I wound up having a plumber come by, and he saw the situation, and then watching him do what he had to do for my specific situation to be able to go and look under and see this is where the pipe goes. This is, in this other room, that's the same pipe. Oh, I didn't know that. And now my understanding of it is so much deeper and better that I kind of feel like I could do a lot more now. And he wasn't giving me a coaching session, he was fixing the problem, but I just asked him questions as he was going, and it was just nice to have that kind of personalized feedback, because the stuff you get on YouTube is like a generic kitchen sink, generic house or whatever, and I
Mhm.
need to know from mine, like my situation, where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to opportunity cost, right? Do you want to spend probably 10 times the amount of time figuring it out on your own? Or do you want to cut that time in half, maybe even more, by hiring someone who can not only just do it for you, but likely give you some shortcuts that you might have stumbled on a Reddit thread about a clogged pipe, maybe,
Hmm.
or you have this guy right in front of you give you a personalized touch. So it's time or money. So
Yeah.
if you really want it bad enough and you're like, I want to learn how to produce music and I'm overwhelmed with YouTube, you're going to go find someone you look up to that has a result that you want, and you want them to show you exactly what they did to get there. And in theory, you just do that same system and put your own touch on it. Of course, you don't want to like completely steal everything. You want to be your own creative self, but they can help you get there a lot faster than YouTube or Reddit
Hmm.
or wherever you're Googling. But yeah, that's a great example. That specialized plumber.
Yeah, well, and I think those are like, especially too, like jobs that are going to stick around despite robots and AI or whatever, because
Huh?
it is a specific situation. Like, yeah, great. I saw like 20 different people fix clogs and sinks, but nothing that got me past where I was, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then within like 20 minutes, my plumber had, you know, opened my eyes to a whole new world of my house and how it works.
Yeah, or even going back to your website example, right? How long you think you figured it out, website looks great. How long do you think that took you? Like perfecting that craft in 20 days, like a month? Like,
Hmm. I have no idea. But what I do know is that I've gotten it to like a certain level, and then I just
mhm.
kind of keep doing it that way. And I'll say the same thing for the podcast. Like, I know how to do it, but my process hasn't really changed much. And I'm sure there are better ways. There are shortcuts. I was a guest on a podcast recently, the Ableton Producers podcast. And, talking with Dan, just even before we had Dan's the host, before we had our conversation, some of the things he did, I was like, oh man, that's really smart. The way he did that and the way he did this. And I think he said the same thing about what I was doing at one point. And that is really hard to figure out on your own sometimes. I think I think this is so true for a lot of things I do, that I've gotten it working at a certain level, and then you're just doing it and you're in the process and you're caught up in the work, and you might not have the
Mhm.
time to refine and to figure out like where changes need to be made to make it more efficient or work better.
Hmm.
Tough thing to figure out. Those
Yeah,
outside
I mean,
eyes, help a lot.
that would be something that is like if you are in that place with your business, hypothetical business, and you're like, yeah, not necessarily stuck, but you're just kind of like coasting. That's why bringing on somebody to kind of accelerate that process, give you a new set of eyes, as you put it, um, to give you a new system to level up, if that's something you're wanting to do. Sometimes businesses are just like, I'm making this much, I'm fine, I'm coasting, I'm fine with that. But if you are wanting to level up that your own expertise, a coach, a consultant, somebody who can help give you that framework, can help you level up and just come in and be like, cool, this is, you want to, increase the traffic to your website. This is what I've done, audited your website. This is what I think you should change. Like, cool. You've cut out a lot of process of maybe Googling and trying a bunch of things. And you just like, you have a framework to just implement now. So it can
Mm,
help.
right. I had a question about finding the value in what you do.
Hmm.
Um, so I haven't been doing any kind of lessons in a while. And the reason why is, I mean, you can only do so much, right? So I'm trying to focus on certain aspects of the work I do. Otherwise, it all gets watered down. But I noticed one of the stresses I was feeling is that the amount I felt I had to charge to make it worthwhile for me just felt like too much to ask somebody to pay.
Hmm.
Like I just wasn't comfortable throwing out the number that I felt made it worth my while. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
I picture like somebody that's like trying to learn music, probably spent a lot on gear or whatever. I and it I had a hard time coming to terms and saying like, listen, it's going to cost this much money to work with me, because I felt like that's what I needed to justify it for myself, but it felt like just too much to ask somebody. So I guess this idea of like finding the value is where I'm at. Like, how do you help people figure that out? If there might feel like a mismatch, like you mentioned like imposter syndrome. Like maybe I'm asking too much, or I think
Yeah.
it
I
because
mean,
it's easy to do the race to the bottom, where well this person's doing it for this much, so I'll do it a little bit less, and then next thing it's not worth it for anybody.
yeah, that's that's a good thing to bring up. I think a lot of people, sorry, can you hear the sirens?
Oh no, no, no.
Okay, good. Great. Um, a lot of people feel that way. I know I can, empathize with that because I went through that same thing. I was selling myself too short and I thought nobody's going to pay this price, even though I know, I've got this expertise, I've got this degree, whatever, like it makes sense. But I was having an internal battle between setting down the mindset of the old clientele and embracing the new clientele that don't spend a lot of money on that don't spend all their money on gear and the wrong things. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they're the more ideal audience. So that's really what it comes down to, figuring out where it is your expertise is and align that with the audience. Like who is it for? Is it for beginners? Is it for people who are more advanced that you want to help start their career? Are you teaching them just music theory in general? Like understanding where that's at, you can hit their pain points a
Mm.
lot more than just like, oh, I'll teach you some lessons. A great example for that is vocal coach. There's a vocal coach we had that was doing that. They were selling, lessons by the hour for like $40, $50, standard stuff. Wasn't sure how to make more money. You can only take so many clients. He was really good at his craft, like vocal coaching people who were on like America's Got Talent, all these other
Mm.
reality shows. Had what it takes to be a great vocal coach, but it was struggling with that pricing. What we did is we packaged, instead of around the lessons, you're packaging it and selling the transformation that they're getting with you. So go from not being able to sing in front of yourself in the mirror or family members to being able to sing on stage in front of 1,000 people is very different. And when you're selling that like emotional piece, if you will, that
Mm,
transformation that they will get, you can justify the higher price. It's not only your time and expertise, but what they're getting in the end, as opposed to, yeah, just buy a lesson from me. Like you learn some stuff. Like it's just changes the game. You're selling something with more skin in the game, if that makes
mm,
sense. So it's about being able to get clear on that story and selling it that way instead of, hey, buy a lesson with me. I'm going to go through this stuff to here's this giant transformation I know you want. And I can almost damn near guarantee it by the end of our 8 week program, right? That changes the game.
right. So rather than 8 lessons every week for whatever, it's you will be singing in front of your 1,000 fans or whatever, confidently.
Yeah. Comes back to that features versus benefits I talk about a lot.
Hmm.
A lot of times
Yeah, people.
creatives are selling the features like
Right.
we're gonna meet with me every week, we're gonna get on Zoom, I'm gonna teach you all the things and stuff, as opposed to the benefits. Cool, you're gonna be confident, you're gonna be able to write 17 songs a day, you're gonna be like, that's what you should be selling. When you can do that, that's what the giant companies that do great, companies like Apple, they don't sell
Mm,
products,
right.
they sell what the products do for you. They sell that transformation. So being able to tap into that is a skill that you can learn no matter your expertise. Maybe
Mm,
you're just a beginner song, you just started writing your own songs, but you've got a cool process that you're going to help other people just get started writing songs. People will pay for that.
mm. Rather than 10 songwriting lessons,
To
express your
yeah.
feelings through your songs.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Be able to express yourself at the end. Find your authentic voice instead
Mm,
of singing like others. Like tapping into those big pain points
mm.
that your particular niche feels. Like if I had a product for you, like, oh, hey, is your podcast at like a plateau, or you feel like you're doing just getting by, stuck with all the work, like,
Ow, ow.
you know what I mean?
You're hurting
I
me.
can help you go from this many downloads to this many downloads by changing two things in your business. Like now that's
Mm.
a higher value program than like, hey, I'll show you how to like do better. You
Podcast
know what I mean?
lessons. Yeah.
Podcast lessons. Yeah, exactly. So
2 hours
it's
a
just
week
yeah,
for 4 weeks. Mm.
it's just a change in that mindset.
Well, you mentioned
And
Apple. Steve Jobs did it pretty well with the iPod. And there were MP3 players around, but who the hell knew what an MP3 player was
right,
at the time? And he just said, I think it was like 10,000 songs in your pocket. And everyone's like, oh,
exactly.
I get it.
And there was a transformation where that happened. Apple was not doing so well. They were selling features. You remember? I don't know how much of an Apple. I see the AirPods. You an Apple geek too?
Yeah, I'm all
Geek
in that
enough?
world.
Cool, great.
I'm
I
stuck and
mean,
I enjoy it.
before Steve left that first time, they
Hmm.
were selling like around when Lisa came out, I believe. They put out like a 900 word essay in Times or something, and it was just like all the technical jargon of like what this computer can do.
Mm,
There's like 2% of people that even understood what the hell that was. They're like, cool, like I don't care about how this speed is. Like I don't know what that means. It flopped, it did terrible. I believe they got rid of Steve. Steve went and helped start Pixar. He
mm,
came back and was like, I have a new perspective. So I think that's when it started to change. Let's sell this big dream. That's where the Think Different campaign started. I don't know if you
mm.
remember that,
Oh, yeah.
but they did Think Different, where it's like that was the first time you were like, "Is this a commercial? They don't even show the product,"
Mm,
because it was just a bunch of clips of like Albert Einstein and like amazing people who think different, right? They're selling that idea of, hey, the doers, the movers and shakers, the dreamers and doers, like go do your thing. While you do it, you can use this product that will help you get there.
right.
So I always refer to that as just beautifully done. Selling those benefits, those big transformations, and not the thing. It's not
Right.
always the thing that they care about. So yeah,
Yeah, it's true. We are, very emotionally motivated. Um,
yeah, that's
I'm
how we
sure
buy.
I'm sure having the features like listed below, tech specs are usually like you have a bunch of clicks into the promotional materials. But I think,
Yeah.
what's kind of striking me too from the creator perspective is it makes you kind of feel a little better about it.
Hmm.
So, if you think of I'm only selling like 8 lessons for 8 weeks, like, what, like if I was taking guitar lessons, like I can only pay this much money for a guitar lesson. But when it's like, you know, you're going to play lead guitar on the stage with your band, like, okay, now I'm willing to do more than that. But from the creative perspective, it does sort of, I think, clarify what you are actually offering. So I think, because, artists are notoriously business averse. It's the icky side, it's the creepy side for a
Hmm.
lot of people. But to take that business side and reframe it in that more emotional, expressive side, I can even just in you saying that, I feel it like sits better with me if I were to imagine myself, you know, whatever it happened to be.
Yeah. And don't, for everybody listening to, like, don't mix up just making these random claims so you can charge $2,000. It is very important. You can actually get these people results. What
Mm.
if that if you're saying you can help them become a rock star, make sure you're staying true and you're actually doing what you can to make that happen. That's important. I just wanted to throw that
Yeah.
out there. You've got everybody and their mom saying they're a coach and consultant on Instagram. That's cool. Can you get results? Because when
Mm.
you can't, that's when you're looked at as like a fraud and it's a scam. Like if you can truly help them get that result, then you're good to go. You should feel good about
Yeah.
that. You've got testimonials, but don't think you can just not change anything, charge 4 times the amount, have a fancy, sell the stars to them like the old music industry would do. Like, hey, I'm going to make you a star. Like, okay,
Right.
liar. Like, to be sure you can actually fulfill on your promise is what I'm kind of getting at. That's it.
Right.
That's key.
Well, yeah, and that's also, I think, what's striking me is like, you're not full of shit. You are actually doing this, but it's the perspective shift.
Hmm.
What's being delivered. I guess you must work with people on a very case by case basis. Is there,
Yeah.
just from your perspective with your company, is there some kind of team that you have that works with people? Are there coaches for the coaches, coaches for the people?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we have a program called the Artistpreneur Accelerator. We work with creative business owners at various levels. Like I said before, some are like, hey, I'm creative, got some things. I'm not really sure what to do. We can build it from scratch. Some people have been doing it for a while. They just need some polish and be able to scale. Some are to the point where they're like, I just need help with ads and some framework. So it is a case by case basis. We do have free strategy calls with the team to kind of dissect what you're doing, see if it's a good match. And like I said, ensure that we feel confident that we can help you. That's why there's not just like a buy now button to work with us. Like we don't work with
Mm.
everybody because I want to ensure we can get you results because otherwise there's no results for you, there's no results for us. It's a win-win. We're a coaching team.
Mm.
So we want to make sure we can make that happen for you. But I do have a team. It's myself, two other coaches, a couple of another business owner, and within the accelerator, got full access to the coaches to help you in various levels. Got some people for ads, some people to help you sell in your sales department. People help you with messages, how to create inspiring content, how to systematize your business. So within the accelerator, you get access to everything to help you get those results we want you to get.
Mm. Well, it's a good point you make, and it's probably as wise to sort of vet who comes through. I would imagine from the perspective of your clients too, anyone that's trying to say be some sort of coach or teacher or trying to turn their music into the artistpreneur, as you said, um, you don't want the you don't want it to not work, right? Like
No.
if you run away with the money, ha ha ha, but that didn't work, now you're gonna, the reputation is really the thing that's valuable, not only for you, but I think also for the people that you're working
Hmm.
with. Because it doesn't take long for that to get tarnished.
No, not at all. And like I said, especially in this industry, like you've got to make sure you can get results.
Hmm.
Yeah, that consultant is only a good consultant if they consult you to success or to
Right.
at least the metric that they want to get you to. And some people take different things out of it. Some people come in and they are like at the very beginning and they just need to see it all laid out and they want to focus on this one thing. Other people like take all the advice and implement it at once. So it's definitely a case by case. What I really compare this to is like we're personal trainers for
Mm.
your creative business. You could go into the gym, work out the way that you want to. You could probably get similar results, right? Or you could hire a personal trainer who gives you that accountability, shows you a framework, gives you that diet, and says, if you do these things, you can get this result because we have this many people who have been able to do it. So we know it's possible.
Mm.
But in the end, you don't pick up the weights, you're not going to get the results. Not going to get on the treadmill, not going to lose the weight. So you've got to show up for yourself. And that's what really we want to make sure it meshes well with people. Like if you're not actually going to put in this work, like it's not worth,
Right.
working with you. It's not worth taking your
Mm.
money just for you to not do it. That doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with my team. So we want to make sure we can help you get there and make it sustainable for you for years to come.
Mm. Yeah. No one can work out for you. No one can diet for you.
No. And
And
that is the like hard part of it. It's just like people are
yeah.
like, is there a guarantee? Like, yeah, of sorts. If you do follow these instructions and you don't get a certain result and you've proven to us that they've done everything, like, cool, then we can talk about it. Let's keep working together until that actually
Mm.
does occur. But that's how confident we are in the results. And that's what we're helping our clients do as well, build up testimonials so that there's no reason if you're saying you promise they'll be able to write 8 songs at the end and every single client that comes through and they've written 17 songs, you can say, hey, at the front end, you can say, listen, if this works and if you do all these things and you don't write 8 songs, I'll give you your money back. But I'm so confident that you will because all of my people have. They've doubled that.
Mm.
There's it's a no brainer. So
Mm.
having incentives, that's something that Fit Pros do a lot too. It's really no different. It's just I'm not showing you what to eat. I'm just showing you what you should consume when it comes to your business. How can you scale it? So
Mm.
similar trajectories. I always like to compare like coaching and consulting to as personal trainers.
Right. Yeah. It's a great metaphor for a lot of things.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one thing. One of the bullet points we had was some industry trends in 2023. There are certain things you're kind of like seeing as new possibilities or new opportunities for people.
Yeah, a couple things I'd be open to talking about real fast. Um, I think short form content has been here for a
Mm.
while, but I think artists and musicians are really starting to like it's a trend for them, if you will. It's been here for many years at this point, 5 years or so. But TikTok and Instagram Reels, that's only been like 3 years. So I'm going to talk about. It's 2023. Um,
Well, YouTube
is you
Shorts, like
real
they're now really doubling down on
YouTube
that
Shorts?
monetization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, being able to tap into that and like really at least study what's working and what's not, unique ways to showcase. Let's turn it back to the musicians for a second. Unique ways to showcase your music without promoting your music.
Mm.
Artists are still doing the. I hate this. If you still do this, please don't ever do it again. Out now. Got a new song. It's out. Go listen to. Go do the thing. Like right. Like that makes me not want to do it. So I'm having a good time like watching what other musicians and creative ways for them to connect with their audience without like doing that push. And it's really cool. It's like kind of a similar process that we have that we teach our clients. It's just like attracting, don't chase, you attract them. So how can you use what they're already consuming to tap into that to track them to a song? I follow a lot of lo-fi stuff. I love chill hop. I love lo-fi beats. I don't just study to it. I'll like work out to it. I'll do everything. It's how I get in my zone. So I've been enjoying seeing like these lo-fi artists just like sitting in a room with laundry and just like setting the vibe and just sitting there with some kind of text on the screen that makes you read it, that connects with like the state of mind you're in when you would listen to that song. It just connects on so many levels, and they don't say a word about streaming a song,
Hmm.
right? So I just really enjoy seeing those type of trends, like thinking outside of the box instead of just saying, "All right, here it's me, Evan, and the band. We just released a song. Go listen to it, or you suck." Like it's not going to work anymore. It's not going to work.
Right.
So that's a trend for starters that I really like. Um, how about
That's
you? Do you have you seen anything that you really into? You into Chat GPT and anything
I'm
cool that you
very
like?
interested in Chat GPT on a number of levels.
Hmm.
I teach high school English,
Oh.
so as
Oh, that's cool.
as that has popped out, I've asked it to write my essays for me, and I'm like, wow, that's faster than I can do it. Uh, and it's making me question everything in that department of my life. Like, why am I going to ask a student to write this essay if the computer, if they thought it was pointless before, now we can just tell the machine to do it. So there has to be a new twist, for uh,
Yeah, that's
creative
interesting. I've
input, and
never really thought about that. Like what's gonna okay, so you're an English
it
teacher.
is insane.
You want to they get assigned an essay, and yeah, they could technically, is that plagiarism? Like this is a whole nother can of worms. Are they plagiarizing? Is it their work? They told the robot to write it. So
Like
I don't envy
great
you.
job on creative prompts, because you can ask it to like write it in the style of the average 11th grader, include 14 grammatical errors, cite from
You're
a
right.
literary. I mean, you can, and it's amazing. It does it. I've used it to make worksheets for me. Like, give me like 10 sentences that use these new vocabulary words, and you know,
I guess I guess it's like the same like evolution when the calculator was created, I would assume. Like,
mm,
damn, I've been doing this by hand this whole time. Now
right.
this little computer will tell me. And then when I was in school, I had a little calculator watch. I just cheat my way through fifth grade math. Like, I assume it's kind of like that, wouldn't you say? Like,
My
how
teachers used to tell me, "You're not going to always have a calculator in your pocket," and now I'm walking around with a cell phone all the
you're
time.
you're a
But
liar, Mrs. Frazee.
yeah, but it makes you think like, what are the things like you can't do? And I think this applies to artists too. What are the
Mhm,
things you can't get that robot to do? You can't get him to speak in front of a room. You
mhm,
still have to do that. You can't get him to perform well at a job interview for you. You can't, all these like types of. You can't have a conversation with somebody where you express that you understand where they're coming from, or so now we're starting to think about like more of that kind of stuff with teaching. And for
mhm,
music, I don't think I've had it write me songs, like write me a song about shaking your butt in style pop, and it writes like this. It's like funny, and it could totally pass. You can imagine this being on the radio and everyone having a great time when it comes on. You still have to write the music, but I asked it to tell me what chords should I play, and it gives me some suggestions like these are the most common chords in pop songs today. But I don't think an AI generated song is going to get anyone to wear like ripped jeans and flannels or,
mhm,
like these, because like what really happens with the artists we love is we start to connect with them, and like, I'm sure you've had this experience where like you hear a song and maybe you like it and you start listening to the band and maybe you like a couple songs off the album, but then as you get to know the band, you start liking just anything they do because it's them. Even those
yeah.
songs that used to skip, you're like, no, I kind of like this song now because you're like buying into the whole package of it, and the
Uh-huh.
music is just a part. So I think we have to really think about that. And it's social media is out there now where you can get that instant connection with your fans and all. So for so
Mm-hmm.
many artists, it's not just the music they're making. It's, I mean, it's how many of like the major artists, especially, like you hear more about their lives than you do their music.
Right.
So I'm interested in, yeah, like how this is going to affect things, of course, but how we're going to still like find those unique and interesting ways to connect. I don't know what the trends
Yeah.
are yet, but I'm as much as sometimes it frightens me, it also excites me because it's like, oh, well, now we almost have to go deeper into like who we are and get that out there. We're like selling our values and what we believe and our lifestyles, and which is interesting.
It's very interesting. Yeah, I think it's about where are we going to shift our energy that was going into writing an essay. Copywriting is a huge thing. Like
Mm.
I've used it to write a couple Instagram captions. It's really great. I put in my personal touch, but the meat is there, done by somebody else, a
Yeah,
conglomerate of all of us, a collective of our creative juices that a robot just pulled in, put my, cherry on top, and it's a caption. Where now will my energy be going since that is already done? I
right.
mean, you see like robots making our lives easier on some more mundane tasks like automating things. I mean, pretty sure you use Calendly as well, but Calendly,
Yeah,
cool. I used to have to
love
pay
it.
somebody to book my appointments, or I had to do it. Now it automates everything. It sends an email so I don't have to physically do it. It's still me doing it
Yeah.
because I wrote the email. But
But there's no back and forth. Is that good? No,
there's
there's no good. Well, if that didn't work
right,
out, can you do this? Like
exactly.
that's a great
um
service. I'm surprised I don't have to pay for that.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's just if you
A
start
certain
charging
level.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, but if you want to go deep into the weeds, we use what's called Zapier, which is
mhm.
an app that literally automates everything. It connects anything on the internet that you could do. If somebody gives you an email, it will grant them access to your membership that you have. It'll send an email, it'll send a postcard to your grandma. It'll activate so many things. And I personally, as a human, did nothing. But now I can focus on, like what you said, other things, you know, crafting my interpersonal skills or personal development or my, public speaking skills or being able to come on more podcasts like this to talk to
Mm.
people. I'm just putting that energy into outsourcing it to somebody else, aka a robot. So figuring out that balance of like, do you want to automate that or do you physically want to do it? And now it gives us the freedom to do that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's exciting. That was my second thing to talk about, Chat GPT. So I'm glad you did.
Well, I think it opens interesting doors too, because as things become more automated and smooths out, like some of these, like you said, more mundane things, it might really put a lot more value on some personal stuff, right? So if
Yeah.
I now have, let's say, this is something I should probably do, right? Like if I now have a little more time because I don't have to send out as many emails to book a podcast guest, what if when somebody writes in, I send them a video? Personal video,
Mhm.
or something personalized that normally people would be like, oh my God, I can't believe they wrote back. And now you can devote more attention to that. Because I really have found, and when you give that time to somebody, like it goes a long way. It comes back in so many levels. And just over the years of, I tried it. Like if somebody takes the time to really write me an email, I'm going to really try to write them back. Like something, you put some time into that. So I want to justify it. And it's also caused me to see the stuff that comes in that's like kind of like mass, it's obviously been sent to 17,000 podcasts or whatever it is. Like, listen to my new album, and dear, and it's like doesn't have your name or, like we all see through it. It says Dear Brian, but I know it's not for me, right? It's just
Yeah.
like dear, like name, and the computer fills it out. But when you get those like
Hmm.
things that are really for you, it's okay. Like, let me sit down with this. There was a person that really wrote that. So I think we might see, I think there's a lot of opportunity for that to just give those genuine, real deal, authentic things back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's going to be exciting to see
Hmm.
what kind of personalization business owners, creatives, just people in general, hopefully they put that energy that they're saving because they've outsourced it to a robot into the things that matter.
Hmm.
Most people probably won't. They'll just kind of kick it and coast by. But I think the ones that are going to win here, especially when we, you know, full circle back to the coaching realm, the coaches that are going to win are the ones that give that personal touch, and it's not, doesn't feel so automated.
Hmm.
So if you are thinking about like building a course, if you don't have some one-on-one, touch base in between, um, it's probably not going to last because people want, like as you said, want that personalization. So how are you going to do that before you try to sell to the masses your $200 course that you hope somebody just comes to your websites and buys? They actually just want your one-on-one attention, even if it's for 30 minutes
Hmm.
every week or something. So think about that as, if you are like course building, sometimes those courses, it's not the right move at the beginning. It's really build a program. How are you going to work with somebody, even if it's for three times the amount? As you said, you felt icky and weird about like that higher price. Like if you can push through that, sell a transformation, do a one-on-one, work with somebody for a while, get results, and then eventually once things are cooking and you can say, "Oh, okay, I know people are getting results with this," then kind of outsource that to a coach. But kind of bringing it back to the personalized touch, I definitely support that, and it should be there, in especially when we're talking high ticket stuff like this. Like if you don't have a one-on-one experience with them, you probably don't care about their results.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I've gotten no's from people, and just been like, well, that's pretty awesome that they wrote back to me. That was them, and like, how cool. And you're kind of like aligned with them now. You become like,
Mm-hmm.
you believe in them, and like, yeah, well, you know what, they couldn't do it, but they were really cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that goes a long way with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this is awesome stuff, and it's so applicable, and I think it's nice that you're bringing that to artists to share their stuff, because it is it's so cool that we can do that, right? Like you can find someone you really admire and actually work with them. Um, that again, it's like one of these new amazing things we have in the world. So I think it's really nice that you're helping people figure out how to do that and find like that exact person that's like right for them. Um,
Yeah.
so
Thanks.
as far as the website, I got artistcollect.com,
You got it.
artistcollect.com, and you guys are on Instagram, and you're on Instagram as well. I'm going to put those inside the show notes. Is
Cool.
there anywhere in particular besides those places you want to send people if they want more information or they just want to know more about what you do?
Yeah. Full circle back to personalized touch. I really believe in that so much. Come straight to my Instagram, shoot me a DM. I'll respond with an audio message so you know it's me. Like, let's talk about it. Love to hear about what your idea is. I could maybe give you some value in the DMs and we can kind of talk from there. But my IG is at AC_Evan.
Hmm. And you do audio responses?
I try to. I try
That's a
to as
great
much as
idea.
possible.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking, actually. So that's cool you're
Yeah.
already doing that.
Yeah. I think those are important. I remember when I would send messages to bigger people on Instagram that I looked up to, that I admired, and they'd send an audio message. I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, 10
Uh,
seconds, they're probably running to get groceries. Hey, what's up? They took some time out in the day to just say hello, and I knew it wasn't a bot or something. It
hmm.
goes such a long way. So yeah, I try to do that as much as I can.
I might borrow that. Yeah, that's cool. I think you can send videos now too, right? So I mean,
Definitely send videos. Yeah, sometimes
send
I throw those in there, but a little quick audio message while I'm on the train in
yeah,
Chicago, lights people up, and at least hits that dopamine to be like, oh, cool, I should keep talking to this guy. You know what I
uh,
mean? So I think it
yeah.
helps.
He's a real guy.
He's a real guy. He's a real boy. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, thanks, Evan. This has been a lot of fun, and I wish you guys lots of success. And I like that you're spreading this authentic message, helping artists to get their authentic message out. Um, and we'll send them to your sites. Check out your work and your Instagram and follow what you do. I mean, you got a lot of great advice on Instagram too, by the way. It's not just
Thank you.
like promotional or whatever. There's a lot of like, I've been going through like the reels and like a lot of great points, quick takeaways. You're doing the short form content well.
Doing the short form content, you know it. You got to. So I appreciate that though. Yeah, I try to give as much value as I can before I'm like, hey, you want to work with us? Like you mentioned before, you didn't say this, but what you were describing was reciprocity. Give it out, and it will come back to you. People will want to give and work with you because they've seen that you give out so much value. So yeah, want our clients to do that, and I try to do that as well. So I appreciate you calling that out.
Cool. I love it. Thank you,
Cool,
sir.
dude.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. Have yourselves a great day. Hey, if you enjoyed the Music Production Podcast, please consider giving it a review on your favorite podcast provider and share it with a friend, somebody that you think might enjoy the show and get something out of it. That would mean a lot to me. And if you want to check out more of my work, including sound packs, tutorials, etc., head over to brianfunk.com. Thanks so much for listening and have a great day.